closed. Call this meeting to order. Note that Ms. Kaufman is absent, and we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, Tigers of War, All-State THS Awards and Honors.
So if you are academic, all-state, choir, or band, would you come to the front, please? Anybody else that I'm forgetting from my side that's not athletic?
Yeah.
So this is Mr. Brady Hacker. He's gonna be one of our full-time band instructors this year at the high school. He was halftime breaks, halftime at the high school last year, but we're gonna have him full-time at THS this year. I'm gonna let him talk about his band kids. Do we have any choir kids here? Okay, I think they all are probably on a trip with Miss Stock or Miss Sis. And then I'll talk about Bob.
Cool, so up first, we have Mr. David Jock. He was a junior last year, he's a senior this year. Last year was his first year making All-State. Last year, he was also a soloist in our marching band, lead horn player in all of our wind ensembles, quartets, whatever you name it. He's going again this year. Up next, Mr. Carson Jefferson. Last year, he was one of our drum majors. This year, he is a senior and is our head drum major. He plays bassoon. And last year was your first year making it, right? Yeah, last year was your first year making it. And then, last but not least, is Mr. Isaac Allen. He is actually a 3-year All-Stater. And to be a 3-year All-Stater, you also get a medal along with it. It's a very prestigious award to be a 3-year All-Stater. From the first time that you can try your sophomore year up until your senior year, you make it every single year. And when the percussion section is very, very tough for him. So he's a 3-year All-Stater, he just graduated, and he is going to NSU, I think. OSUIT, I knew that. So these are our, and there was one more, her name is Ryan Lee. She was a snare player last year. She just moved to Jinx this past year. So she made it her first year, she was a sophomore last year, and undoubtedly she will make it the next 2 years. So we actually had 4, but 1 will move. So these are all state games.
So one thing about percussion, Mr. Allen and the band staff have to actually be up there, and all the extra hours these kids put in, they have to be there also, because it's not like you can take a xylophone home. So, tube was kind of hard too, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so I want to just say how thankful I am for our band and choir and fine arts department. And then also we have Mr. Robbie Batson here. He is a National Merit Scholar and also Oklahoma All-State. And so he went on vacation, didn't go to the award ceremony. I blame you, I was on vacation. And we just wanted to reiterate how special he was to our class this year and what fine accomplishments. I can't wait to see what you do, Robbie. You're going to impress all of us, I know you will. And he also got a 36, which is a perfect score on the ACT, and he's going to OU. Also, Ryan, and you're going to do gaming. Are you going to do the esports?
I might.
Okay.
You have to get everything. Yeah, right. You guys can't see over.
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna need you guys to do the end of the knee. Sorority pose. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
We have a bunch of history. I will start with McKenna. She's a 3-time All-Stater. In cross country twice and once in track. She'll be a senior this year. Works hard. I see her every morning when I'm coming to work. She's already done with that. Jaylee Ray was a 2-sport All-State, fast pitch and slow pitch. She's going to further her career at NEO. Katie Moore,
state champion wrestler, and a linebacker, and he will be a senior this year. So we've got 2 juniors here, one that just graduated. Micah Van also was a fast pitch all-stater. She's going to Cali County. Hayden Smith was a basketball all-stater. He's at Falls Creek. He's going to Northeastern. And Trey Baker is not at Falls Creek, but he's at another church camp, and he will be a senior as well. He was just all-state in cross country.
Matt Cloud, I need you in that picture, please.
He is not a
Good job.
Do we have any public to be heard?
No, ma'am.
Item E, oh, I'm letting you go.
Thank you guys for coming.
No, it's just that you can.
Yeah. I got it.
The great thing about that is that so many of them are coming back next year, so we have very talented students.
Alright, item D, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item E, presentation by Corbin Jarvis for district general liability insurance and workers' compensation insurance.
You guys just like jumping right into the fun stuff, don't you? Hope everybody has a copy of my proposal here. Glad you got a chance to read it. This is our Oklahoma Schools Insurance Group's renewal for 2023. Starts July 1st. I'm sorry, mine
It's gone up.
has gone up. Yeah, it has gone up.
2 years in a row?
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. But let me explain what it is first. This primarily, and the majority of the premium is, of course, in all our buildings or contents. The school district has $194 million worth of autos that we cover, the buildings, like I said, the contents, the fences, the playgrounds, every part of our physical stuff that we have is covered under this. It also takes care of all our liabilities, our school board legal liability, for instance. So it protects you in the event we make a decision up here that draws us into lawsuits. Our auto liability, our general liability. If someone slips and falls at the PAC, we've got a lawsuit on our hands due to a wet floor or whatever. This is a policy that takes care of all that. A little bit about Oklahoma Schools Insurance Group, and if you've been on this board for a little while, you've probably heard this spiel. This is a group that was put together in 2001, and it was put together in order to stabilize insurance premium. Ironic, right? To be quite honest with you guys, it really has. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, what Oklahoma Schools Insurance Group does is, for instance, on our property policy, we insure all 507 districts in the state, but we buy one insurance policy for all of them. And instead of buying a almost $30 billion policy, we buy a $1 billion policy. What that does is it gives us the ability to lower rate. We're negotiating a maximum of $1 billion loss. Now, spread out in all our counties and all our school districts, even though we have almost $30 billion worth of exposure, the aspect of us ever losing over $1 billion is so minimal that it's safe. The other thing Oklahoma Schools Insurance Group does is it takes a large deductible itself. The group itself has a large deductible. For instance, Tom Public Schools has a $50,000 deductible. We have a frozen pipe. Alcohol pays the first $50,000. OC would pay up to $1 million. So when we go out to negotiate our reinsurance, we can say, we've got $1 million deductible. Before you even kick in, we're going to pay the first $1 million. What they do is they set money back from all our insurance premiums. And when we have the loss, hopefully not all 537 school districts have a loss in the same year. But we pull from that. What we've got into, though, guys, in the last 5 years, our reinsurance program has paid out over $223 million for claims, and we've only taken in $5 million in premium. So we've got a 260% loss ratio. It's these rate increases, and I will tell you, Tahlequah's rate increase is roughly 20%. Now, 13% of that is coming because we increased our coverage limits this year by almost $12 million. The reason we did that is because construction costs continue to go up. Red iron buildings that we had at, I think $173 per square foot last year, we bumped those up to $210 per square foot. I was visiting with the school district last week, it's building a red iron building, and it's coming in at $250 per square foot. One of the things OSIG does is gives us a margin clause, which says if we have a building listed for $1 million, our margin clause is 125% of that. So if we've got a building listed for $1 million, we're paying $1.25 million. So we don't have to be, it gives us a little wiggle for replacement. Liabilities, they actually went down with the exception of our auto liability. Actually, our auto liability went down drastically because our fiscal rate, our excess liability. So with our liabilities on our vehicles, bodily injury at the school, we have Oklahoma tort remedies that protect us. A few years ago, and what that basically says is if we're involved in an auto accident, we can only sue the school for so much. And those statutes are in place that say this is the limit. We wrote an excess liability policy on top of all our other liability policies, mainly for the auto. In the event we go outside of Oklahoma, our Oklahoma tort limits no longer protect us. So we added an additional $1 million 6 or 7 years ago. Cyber liabilities is we've had a few school districts, some of our larger school districts that have ransomwares. That comes into play in this is, we tried to get the broadest form of coverage that we could find, which with cyber liability, we never know what we're up against until we did it. I had a few years ago, I was asked, what's this cover? And my reply was, we don't know yet. Because until the hackers hit us, they keep coming up with new ways to hit us. But what we've done is keep the broadest coverage that we can find. Questions on any of this? Other than our
How much coverage for cyber?
So it's on the 5th page here that deals with, it's got a 20 page, it looks like. We've got $2 million aggregate for liability. There's different sublimits to the breach costs. First part of it. So it depends on what we lost. The ransomware was at 700 people.
Corbin met with Brett, went through every piece of property, talked with Paul, every auto, talked with Sabrina. We sat down with us, explained everything that we needed, everything that we had, anything that we could do to change. Something that we were recommending to sheriffs to change to a $75,000 deductible. That saves us a little bit of the cost rather than, yes.
So moving from a $50,000 to $75,000 actually saves us $67,203. So we're on our third deductible, we're on our third loss before we even catch up to the savings. We've averaged one loss a year from the last 5 years. I do want to tell you guys, and I don't know that I've shared this with you, but and we did go outside of OSIG. We write Norman, we write Union Public Schools. right, 3 or 4 school districts that go over $500,000 worth of property to insure. And OSIG wanted them outside of the program because of disruptions, because of the large volume that they had as far as the coverage. So what we thought we would do is, or what we intended to do was take Tahlequah Public Schools to CRC, our broker, that we deal with on these large ones. What we asked for was a $25 to $35 million policy, because actuaries tell us that's the most that we're going to lose. Statistically, getting over, having a larger loss in the school district that exceeds $35 million is pretty minute. So what they gave us an indication of was a $25 to $35 million policy with a $100,000 deductible except on wind and hail. And this is where OSIG really shines. The wind and hail, the best wind and hail deductible we can get was 3% of the total insured value. So you're looking at almost a $600,000 wind and hail deductible. And that is the most prevalent cause of loss in the state of Oklahoma. Their indication came in at 900,000. That's probably good. We have to add an additional 100,000. So my point in that is it doesn't look like it, but OSIG really is working to the benefit of the school districts. I know that sounds rough when I'm standing up here with a $150,000 increase.
Every school district in the state will have the same.
I will tell you, you guys have a 24% loss ratio over the last 5 years. I have stood in front of a couple of school boards where you have a 50% increase. You guys have a 20% increase, and 13 of that, or 6.7 of that is due to increase in coverage. But I have stood in front of a school district this year that had exactly 100% increase. Their coverage limits have not been updated in 4 years.
Last year, we had some increases because we did do some of that work, and then this year.
And short of construction stopping everywhere, there are a whole lot of contractors, coming to bid meetings. I don't see the pricing as far as cost per square foot of buildings. Questions? Do you have claims scenarios that run through your mind?
Seems like we always have frozen pipes, right? In the last few years, I know we've had frozen pipes.
And this
Those
is,
have been our problem.
and the deductible is per incident, right? So if there's,
Okay.
Yeah.
if there's a storm and we have 3 sites that all have, it's one deductible.
One deductible. And our approach is 72 hours.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've done a storm that hits, wraps around, and hits another building, it's still one. And I will tell you, worked with Brad on this frozen pipe back in December, $50,000 deductible. He used his guys, repaired a lot of it, cleaned up a lot of it. I think the total cost was $70,000. When we came in and estimated the loss, we did water loss estimate at what it would cost us to do it. And our loss estimate was $118,000. We wrote you a check for close to what you had to do. I think your deductible is up $2,000. So if you can just get Brad to build on it.
I remind him he is capable of that.
It's an
I've seen
electrician,
work.
he's got a plumber he's had somewhere.
There is.
Questions on the problem?
No, it is what it is.
We would recommend the moving up to $75,000.
That's a recommendation to you all as well.
Do we have actual, so this just says discussion or presentation, do we have this item?
Yes.
It's later, right?
Yes, it is later.
Is it separate?
It's in the contracts.
I know this thing was twice in.
It's BC on the contracts agreement with Oklahoma Schools, insurance groups to provide general liability insurance. It doesn't say anything specific about the deductible, it'll just be on the paperwork.
Okay.
So it will just be, one thing with the other.
Yes.
Once I want to sign, we just say the same.
Alright.
And then we have a real brief discussion, because we have OSAG as far as the compensation.
yes.
So what we need is to look for carriers, same as we do with those to compete with OSAG. The best that we could come up with, based on the same payroll loss history, was comp risk at $166,582. Our current carrier, OSAG, which is works very similarly to OSAG, is coming in at $131,000. So we recommend staying with OSAG. No, it's pretty good. And work comp is what we're trying to.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Alright, thank you. Yeah. Let's do, report, I assume you're gonna talk about that a little bit?
I can if you want me to.
We'll do, F and G before we take the vote, and then we'll.
Sounds good. So on F, at the end of every year in June, you guys always move money from the general fund to the co-op to cover the co-op fund, because we pay for employees out of that fund. So what we decided is we're gonna keep it very general on there because the numbers change. So he just got another deposit into that account, so we're gonna be around 48,000 what we're transferring from general fund to co-op fund as of today. Now, if he gets more deposits in the next 10 days before the end of June 30, that number could decrease also. Last year, we ended up transferring like 76,000, but this year it is gonna be less than that. So that's on that one. And so that one will always be on the June board agenda every single year because we always transfer money from general to co-op to cover. We'll go on to our bank balance for the May 31st, $14,735,011.87. Receipts for the month of May for general fund, $3,511,670.87. Building fund, $192,190.23. Co-op fund, we had a deposit of $500. Sinking fund, $69,187.59. So that gives us the bank balance in general fund is $9,696,735.73. Building fund, we're at $2,122,181.34. Bond fund is $339,015.15. Sinking fund is $2,640,137.07. Go over to the activity fund. The end of May, activity fund balance was $1,047,346.24. Go over to the utilities. Electric, from last May to this May, there was an increase of like $3,900. Gas was about $1,200 less from last May to this May. And water and sewer was about $736 more from last May to this May. You guys have any questions?
Do I have a motion to approve items F and G 1 through 4? Second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Questions? Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item H, Principal Director's Report, Child Nutrition.
That's right, here we are. Hello, I'm Lacey Wilson. I am the Federal Programs Director, and back in January, I inherited child nutrition. And so I am not going to promise that I know everything about child nutrition, but I will tell you, I'm working very hard to learn it. So, I love building teams. I feel like if you work in a team, that just creates a better environment. So, yes, I am the child nutrition director, but it would be silly for me to say that I do everything on my own here. So, I want to introduce you to my sidekicks, and they really help run the show. So I have Kaylin Harbuck, and she's a child nutrition specialist, and she is also new. She comes to us from Keys, and she started in January. And then Heidi Kruger, and she's on vacation, so I brought her. So I thought that you guys could see her. She is.
Is that a vacation picture?
She's probably having a real good time, I'm sure. But she is a very, very hard worker, and she is also our sidekick. So myself, Kaylin, and Heidi all work for Tahlequah Public Schools in the child nutrition world. But our partner, and I'm very glad that we're partners because I think that working together just makes things better. So I have Alicia Gord, and she is the Sodexo Child Nutrition Director and the Sodexo General Manager. And she is also here in Tahlequah. But I know as a principal, sometimes I was confused, like, who do I contact? Who do I call? What do I do here? So she is over Sodexo. We are with Tahlequah, but we work together. They have a daily meeting. They meet every morning at about 7:15, and then I jump in there and meet with them weekly. And so we're trying to get better. We want to put kids first. When you are an adult and you do things with your friends, it's typically go to eat. And things revolve around food. So we really want lunchtime to be a really relaxing, good time for a kid. You know, we want them to have a delicious meal. We want them to have great customer service when they come through the line. How's your day? That type of thing. So those are things that behind the scenes we're really working hard to improve and do better. And so the more we know, the better we can do. And so we're going to continue to ask for feedback as we go. The two over here in the corner, they are the mastermind. Susan Sherwood, she's the regional Sodexo. So she goes to many, many schools. And then Doug Zimble is Owasso Sodexo chef. But I keep trying to say that I want to have him every now and then. And that he will come we've been working with Natalie and the VPs at the high school a lot. We really want to try to make things better at the high school for those kiddos. And so we want him to come in and do a presentation for the kids on occasion or get them excited about lunch, you know? I mean, I know we have a long way to go, but I think we're on the right track and we're going to get there. So we're hoping that Chef Doug can come and help us on occasion. So.
Owasso's happy to share.
Yes, Susan tells me that.
It's on record now.
He goes to I have 10 school districts in my area, he goes to all of them.
Make it a team photo.
Okay. So they are gonna give you some samples, and they're using food that we really serve kids. I was like, don't give them the fancy stuff, give them the stuff that we will serve kids, because I want you all to know what the kids would be able to eat. And are eating, this is on their menu, right? Do you wanna tell them?
This is for the new foodie.
The new foodie, and we'll get to that, I get excited, and that's on the PowerPoint, but we'll get to that, so, they're gonna pass that out.
We brought you a treat.
Don't feel like you have to eat the entire thing,
Yeah.
but we wanted you to see, this is 3 different meal options and.
Now, you
let's
guys
explain
in the
them.
audience, they get some too.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, we brought samples here.
This is actually what students are eating on the
Okay. So while they're
Gotta talk
passing
slow,
this out-
Lacey, so we have time.
Yes. Well, I get real excited and get like a squirrel sometimes, so. As you guys are eating, let me tell you about a few things that we have going on. You'll see in there that we have a policy change, and I'm not gonna pretend like we know that this is gonna be the best policy, but we feel like this is what we're gonna try right now, and then we can come back to the table. So in our old policy, it said that if a kid had a charge more than $10, they would get an alternative meal. And in my experience and what I hear from the community is that we don't like that. We don't like when a kid gets a cheese sandwich. And so we have changed the policy. We didn't put a charge cap, but I am gonna say that I'm gonna need your help, and here's why. So we paid off the balances at Christmas, around $2,000, and I have the exact amount. And then we paid it off again right now, another $2,000. So this year, we have paid off $4,303.19, which I hear you guys tell me it's worth it. Okay. So kids that owe lunch money at the end of the year, it came to a total of $4,303.19. We can't use general fund and we can't use federal dollars, so we have to use raised funds. So we're gonna start a new account, we're gonna call it the Angel account, I think, I don't know, unless you guys have a better name. To cover, and it would just be to cover lunches. So we're gonna pay them off, we're gonna try to get a new account, and we're gonna do what we can. But as we go, I will be talking to you, you know how you monitor and adjust as you go, and we'll just kind of be talking about it and see what we need to do. Because what we can't do is we can't afford to pay $30,000 at the end of the year every year. So we have to be smart and we have to really try to get lunch bills paid. Now, let me say this. We thought that the automatic machine was on, if you will. It wasn't anyone's fault. We went back and forth because we were annoying families is what happened. We were annoying them because we were sending them a text, an email, and a call, and we don't want to annoy families, obviously, but we just want them to know that they owe money. So come to find out at the end of the year, it wasn't on, so then we turned it back on. So moving forward next year, what will happen is if a family owes $5 or more, they will get a text and an email. As long as that's a good number and a good email, you have to keep that in mind. And then also a lunch bill, like a physical lunch bill, will go home one time a week. So that's our attempt to try to collect money. So saying all of that, we're gonna try it and hopefully it will work, and then hopefully we won't have a ton of people owe at the end of the year. We're also gonna try to encourage people to put a large amount in there if they can. I totally understand if they can't, but then at the end of the year, they would get that money back if they didn't use it, if they chose to.
Can I say a couple things?
Yes.
I hope it's not on there.
You're fine.
Just reminding the public that the people that have, I think sometimes the perception of the bills that aren't paid are the kids that are on free and reduced or free lunches. That is not the case for this. These are people that are reduced rate or full pay that just have balances. And a lot of times, what you don't realize is they're not big balances. We went through pages and pages of people that still had a balance at the end of the year for this $4,000. And most of them are $5 charges. But when you have 3,600 kids that are eating, $5 to $10 on a charge looks very nominal to a family, but it adds up to us. So we're gonna just try to do a really good job of getting that information out to people. Because I know I would think it's $3, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it is when it's 3 times 3,000. So we're just gonna get that information out.
And sometimes families may not know, even though we try to get the word out, but sometimes that doesn't always connect, you know? And so we're just gonna keep trying and trying to get better to make sure that we get it out there.
Lacey,
Yes, ma'am.
can you break those charges down per school?
I can't right this moment, but I absolutely can.
Okay, let me ask you, did Cherokee teachers pay their balance? Or was their balance included in this?
Every school is included here. We covered everything. We don't want the teachers to pay.
Okay.
Because they will.
Oh, well, that's how
And
it's
we
been in
don't
the
want it
past.
to.
It
Yes.
seems like Cherokee
Yes.
teachers rally and
Yes.
pay and,
Yes.
okay.
And I always appreciate that, but we don't
Oh, I
want them
think
to
it's
do that
wonderful,
because
but-
they always dig in their pockets for all kinds of stuff, so.
They do. All
If that-
teachers do.
Yes, they do, absolutely. If you want that information, I can get that to you.
No, I wanted to know if the 2,000 or the 4,000 was paid.
It was.
By the school, but not by the teachers.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Now, I was just gonna, I talked about this, and as a mom who pays 3 kids to eat breakfast and lunch every day, and I know we can't do it now, but I wanna say it, cause I want us to work here. I want something that at the first of the year, I can put my bank account number or my credit card, like Pike Pass, and when it gets down to $10, you I can set the amount even, or you can set the amount, but when it gets to a certain balance, you automatically charge my card.
That would be nice.
Because I did get, and we didn't get them this past, but I had got the text in the past.
Sure.
If you're right in the middle of something, cause you can click and you can log in, but it's the paying via PayPal on the website's a little bit cumbersome. It's really cumbersome on a cell phone, because you gotta move this stuff around. And you just forget, you get distracted, we have a responsibility to pay, but I think some of that is if the easier we can make it for people to pay, and if there's an automatic payment option. You know, 'cause that's how most people pay a lot of their bills these days, you know, you set it up and each month this amount comes out, and this is a little bit more difficult because your kids don't always eat and they don't have 20 days every month, and so the bill's a little bit different. So even if you're prepaying, if I know that it costs this much for my kids to eat for 2 weeks and I go in every 2 weeks and pay it, and then, you know, we're closed or they have a balance, the next time it's like, oh, I don't need to pay it yet, and it gets, so it's, I think people would pay more if it was more convenient to pay.
I do too.
So,
We've talked about that for sure.
And I
We'll keep trying to
recommend-
figure that out.
completely unrelated, I recommend we not call it the Angel Fund, because I know that the Salvation Army sometimes gets really
okay.
weird about calling things angel things.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
let's
I'm,
come up with another name.
Cheese sandwich.
I like that. No cheese sandwich, no cheese sandwich.
I think what happened is I was researching schools and I think it was Collinsville that had that, so that's why it just popped.
We should name it after Jim Wilson.
Good call, we could do
It's all
that,
about the kids' fund.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
that'd be great. He for sure would want that.
Because we have people ask all the time if, because anytime a story about, not just us, but a story about school lunches comes up, people are like, well, where can I go, where can I pay? And if we have a quick spot on our website that this fund, you wanna help pay for lunches here.
I like that.
Sabrina and her team have been looking at all the different options we have for that type of thing. We can take credit card payments easier. We tried it a little bit this year and then it didn't really work out, so we abandoned it in the middle of the year, but we've not abandoned the concept. We know we need to figure it out, but we're trying to find something that actually works effectively for this and many other things. So there are lots of things at the high school that they take in thousands and thousands of dollars, and we're trying to streamline it. She's working hard to find us some good options.
You are. So I'm saying it in public, so when you come and tell she found something, we can all.
But I've given her I love the Pike Pass concept, and you had told me that earlier, so I was like, Pike Pass. When I get down low, they take 40 more out of my checking account.
The easier the better, really. So we're trying, we're working, we're gonna
And
keep,
it's already getting
we're
better.
gonna keep going, that's right. So, I guess I should move along, I have to, let's slide.
We told you to go slow so we can eat, right? It's delicious, by the way.
It's awesome. Awesome.
Go ahead, Robert. Maybe. Okay, I'm not gonna read all this to you, I will give you the big picture. Total breakfast served, 120,827. Total lunch, 294,146. And then we also have the supper program or the dinner program with Boys and Girls Club. And it's 80 and 21st century learning, I had to throw that in there. 85,333. You can just flip through the next little, I don't wanna read that to all of you, but we do have a breakdown. And we're gonna make goals for next year to serve even more. So these are just quick little pictures of our teams. We're really trying to promote teams, and we had a big little celebration at the end of the year, and we had a cookout. Yep, you can keep going. I just want them to feel really valued and to know that what they're doing in the back really works for our kid, like working hard for our kids, it matters, you know? Keep going. Okay.
All right, now it's my turn. So we have a few different events here that we consider special events. And first I'll start with our summer school numbers because we are doing summer school this year. So our breakfast numbers were 2,645 approximately by the end of this week. 4,138 lunches, and that served at Sequoia, Cherokee, and the middle school this year. We also, every Wednesday, during the week, they build pack-out meals. So they build 5 breakfast and 5 lunch. And then on Wednesdays, we have Heidi and Kaylin that go out to Garden Walk, and Mark and Corey Payne have been delivering to Fox Street. That will equal it to about 2,685 meals that they have delivered to those 2 places this summer as well for the students who can't make it to a site. We also, Tahlequah Public Schools contracts with Cherokee Nation and the East Coast Migrant Program. So throughout the year, after they make all of these meals, they have also made 10,258 breakfast, 10,657 lunches, and 6,634 snacks for the East Coast Migrant and the Cherokee Nation program. And then this summer, East Coast is still going, so we will be doing about 598 breakfast, lunch, and snacks for them as well. So if you want to go on to the next slide, thank you. So every year we do Thanksgiving. This is something that Tahlequah has done forever. When my kids went here, they had it, and I love to be able to be a part of that. And the administration team comes out and helps, because we couldn't serve everybody that we serve without everyone's help. And this year we served an additional 1,389 adults and an extra 300 plus students, and most of those were at the high school and middle school than what we serve on a normal daily basis. We have our Future Chef competition every year. It is our one big thing that we do here with our elementary students. We had 8 students this year. We actually had 9, but only 8 were able to come. And they presented us with their recipes. They worked with our staff and built their recipes. We did have Tanya and Chrissy and Miss Deanne as our judges this year. And our winner was Ruby Stowers from Cherokee Elementary, 3rd grade, with her strawberry salad. And then we have Earth Day. Normally we do a little pudding cup that the kids love. It's the dirt cup with the gummy worm. This year we decided to do the ocean cup. It was blue jello with some Swedish fish in it, and the kids absolutely love that. We also, I don't have a picture of it, but we do green eggs and ham for the elementary schools for Dr. Seuss Week. And there are other things throughout the year that I would like to start adding as we go. We did a little more this year than I did last year, and so we're getting there. And any ideas that you guys might have, please throw them my way. I can't guarantee that we will do them, but I would be happy to have any ideas that we can work with. All right, so looking ahead to the 23-24 school year, we are transitioning from DYK to the foodie program at the middle school. You guys are tasting food that is on our new line for the foodie at the middle school. And the items that Chef Doug cooked today were the herb roasted flatbread with Parmesan green beans, teriyaki chicken rice bowl with a ginger carrot salad, and a Korean chicken taco with Olympic corn. If you want to go ahead and flip to the next slide. This just kind of gives a little bit of a picture of it. We're going to have our normal favorites. We're going to have the chicken sandwiches and the pizza. Tahlequah Public Schools did purchase a pizza oven for the middle school. We will be going from the frozen pizzas to the homemade pizza, using the dough that we have to thaw out and build the pizzas. Much, much better program, and I think the kids that are gonna love it. Susan, do you have anything that, I haven't seen the foodie program a whole lot myself, so I know that Doug and Susan are both very, very used to the program as it has been put up in those areas.
We have it at a few of our middle schools around Oklahoma. It's been very well received by the students. This program was put together with students. We had focus groups from all over the country input their feedback into the food, what it should look like, what they want to see in it. And we actually had one of our middle schools in Owasso got to participate in that feedback. So it was, and then Putnam City got to. So we had 2 Oklahoma middle schools that got to give feedback nationwide to the program, but we're in year 2 for this program, so we're getting it out everywhere. Like you're tasting the food. This is the actual food. We didn't do anything to it that the students wouldn't see. You have the whole grain tortillas, you have the whole grain flatbread, you have the fresh veggies, and this is exactly the type of menu items I would see. We hope you enjoyed it. And everybody out here will get to try it.
I was gonna say, Dan's waiting on So towards the end of the school year, we put out a survey at the high school that the students could access by scanning a QR code, going online. There was some text sent out where they could get on there. We asked a few different questions about things. Their breakfast items, of course, biscuits and gravy and breakfast pizza. Those are the number 1 and 2 items that the kids absolutely love. Susan, can you help me with this one on the triple threat and the meal options, what those are leaning towards?
So when we talk about the triple threat, that's like the breakfast that you would get at home. Some eggs, some toast, some fruit. So the triple threat is, do they want a breakfast plate? Or do they, the cold options of course would be like cereal, Pop-Tarts. And then, so you can see they really like their cereal and Pop-Tarts and Nutri-Grain bars, that type of thing. And then the baked goods would be like cinnamon rolls, that type of thing. And then individual items might be like the pancake on a stick, those type of things. And then the one is like complete meals, so. Anytime.
And then we move on to the lunch here. And one question that they were asked was, do you have enough time to eat? 84 said no, 34 sometimes, and 61 said yes. So it's pretty split right there whether they say they have time or not.
How much time do they have?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
It kind of depends on where you are
In the
life,
lunch,
you know, because I've done lunch duty
Yes.
at the high school, and there are kids, when it's almost time to leave, you're just getting through.
And one thing that we are going to test out this year is reversing our lines at the high school. We're gonna put the cashier at the end of the line instead of the beginning, and see if that doesn't help move the high school students through a little bit more. We also have one other thing we're gonna add, but Lacey wants to talk about that here in a minute, so I'm not gonna jump in and spoil her stuff here. We did know, and this is not surprising to me at all, that 120 of the students love the tacos and salsa. That's always the number one. That's a big long line that we have. But 119 said the chicken and rice bowls look really good.
It was real bad.
That was my favorite.
Yeah. And so,
Brown rice too.
yes, yeah, brown rice is whole grain rice.
Regulation.
I just ate healthy food.
You did.
You just ate healthy food.
I liked it.
90 of our students said our cafeteria workers are really nice. 68 of them said they are the best. And 28 said, yeah, they're okay. The students really love the Fiesta line, which is another Mexico line. And then they love the Tater Temptations, which have you ever been at the high school on Tater Temptations Day? They get a choice of a baked potato or tater tots or mashed potatoes, and then they get chili and taco meat and broccoli and cheese. There's lots of options to build basically the biggest potato that you could possibly build.
We did get some good results across the line on what we call our adventure lines. Now, we do have the most popular ones that some kids would eat a taco every day, and we know that. But we also want to make sure those kids that do like the strutters or the barbecue, that they get that from time to time. So in looking at this, we can really gauge. And you can see by the dark red for everyone, we did have some people say they liked it the best. So we're excited to be able to continue rotating menus so it doesn't get stale in the high school.
Okay, and my last.
Yep, this is yours.
This is my favorite. So we went on a little field trip, our little child nutrition team, and we went to Claremore and Owasso. because she kept telling me all of these things, and I said, Susan, I have to see it. You have to just take me there, I have to see it. So we went and we looked around, and then we came back and we met with Natalie and with the VPs, and they're on board, and so we're gonna flip the line, we're gonna try it. All we can do is then they say, that didn't work, that was terrible, and then we flip it back, you know? And so we're also gonna have a C-store, and we've been trying to do this for a long time, but we are making it happen. It's gonna open in August, even if it's just a small C-store, and then we'll go from there. But it will have some a la carte items, it will have a whole meal in there too, but it'll just be another little area. But they'll be able to get some coffee, some slushies. For those items, they will have to have money in their account, but there will be things in there that we can put together for reimbursable meals so that any student may shop there, because that is very important to all of us, that every student feel welcome in every area, you know? And so then we'll also put some of these a la carte items up at our line, so that way a kid, if they do want a little bag of chips along with their meal, they can grab that and then pay. Right now, if a kid wants a second lunch, it is $4.85 for the second lunch, even if they're free and reduced. And I think sometimes we forget to tell our families that, because that adds up. We're not really supposed to let them charge that meal, so we're kind of supposed to stop them before they come through for a second meal, but that doesn't always happen. So then families are surprised, why do I have this lunch bill? I thought my kid was, you know, free or reduced. Well, somehow they got a second meal, it was $4.85. That's a lot, because we have to charge the non-reimbursable rate, which I'm learning all of this stuff, you know, I'm learning as I go. But anyway, I say all of that to say we're gonna try to do some a la carte items, like maybe they could just get another piece of pizza, so they don't have to pay the whole $4.85. Maybe they just want another helping of chicken nuggets, or maybe they want a cookie, and so he's gonna give everybody a cookie over here, you know, I mean, maybe they just want something else, so, I just think it's worth trying, and if it flops, and then we don't do it anymore, but I think it will be good. So it'll be in the corner, I guess C-store, Tiger's Den, we're not, you know.
It'll be at the other end of the high school cafeteria if you're not
Yes.
familiar with the area.
Yes, so,
Will it
we're
only
very
be open
excited.
at lunch, Lacey, or after
Open at
school?
breakfast, and possibly later on having something open for after school if we decide to go with some of the protein options for athletics and band and some of the ones that are here later in the evening.
We're gonna see, we'd love for it to be open a little while longer so that kids, and then Natalie and I have talked about, I think we're gonna try to do a second breakfast for kids that are at band or athletics or whatever, and they'll have to just swing through because they're hungry and they missed it. And so, we're just trying to work together to figure out how to serve our kids.
So they're gonna bring you a cookie. Everything that is in the C-store that is a la carte has to be Smart Snack compliant. This cookie is Smart Snack compliant.
Whole grain.
And it's whole grain.
No, that's not what it said. That's not what it says here.
And we will have a Keurig where we're selling coffee out of there. So when y'all need your coffee fix in the morning, come to the high school.
Tanya, it's a healthy cookie.
It's pretty healthy and I love them.
It is a whole grain cookie, so.
Good.
It's pretty
Really
good.
wouldn't know that, she didn't tell you.
I think the kids will buy a cookie.
Oh,
as
they're very
motivation.
popular, we sell a lot of
Keep
them.
the cookies on the shelf.
Yes.
They made them for the seniors when we went on the picnic and they loved them. The cookies.
Yes. Okay, so samples of all the other stuff too?
Yeah, if
Anybody's
anybody
welcome to
wants.
sample.
Does anybody want samples?
I know
we
we
can't do that.
She's waiting
We're just gonna make some free dinner. And then while they're doing that, if you have any questions,
Taco, chicken taco, the bowl. Well, the bowl is my favorite.
I like the other thing.
it's pretty good.
I ate all of it.
Good, I like that. Do you guys have any questions for us? Heidi can probably really answer most of them.
She's having so much fun right now.
She is. That's all I got. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I'm very appreciative to all of you all for trying to make it better at the high school.
We're trying. We're trying. We're gonna keep going, and thanks for working with us. Much easier.
Alright, you guys, if you want samples, get them, but we're gonna proceed
rolling.
forward, but if you wanna get up, you won't bother us, I'll talk loud, so. Item I, discussion and vote to approve or not approve Sabrina Garner and Lacey Wilson as the authorized signers on federal claims for the TPS district for the 23-24 year. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve. Second.
Questions? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And I. Superintendent's report.
Just a few things this month, been working on those random facts, and actually Sabrina helped me find an old folder with all kinds of information about Pelican Law from its history, so I'm excited to have some of the facts that I'm able to bring to you soon, but this month's fact, we have 444 HVAC units that we clean, change belts, grease motors, and change filters, and I say that because we all complain when our area is hot, but 4 or 5 people service 444 AC units. And you just don't think about it in that respect. So that was my fact today from Mr. Brad Jones. Summer school update, we have summer school at Sequoia Pre-K. The elementary students are at Cherokee, at TMS and THS. Sequoia, we have 51 enrolled, about 40 staying every day with 10 staff. They're walking to the library every week. They're gonna have a water day on Friday if you wanna go by Sequoia and play in the water, so that's pretty exciting. And they just work on doing developmentally appropriate fundamental skills and fun. We want it to be fun for the kids while they're learning. Summer, well, all the time actually. Elementary at Cherokee, we have 195 kids that are staying every day. That includes 3 kinder classes, 3 first grade classes, 3 second grade classes, 3 third and 2 fourth, an ESY class, a newcomer class, new to our country, and a GT camp. They have enrichment classes weekly with art, culture, and PE. We have 3 para-assistants in the building helping wherever needed. Every grade level has a literacy block and a math block every day. Our students in 4th grade are piloting an online science program, just to give us feedback to see if it's something we might want to look at as a program. They are doing, had one morning field trip to watch Annie, which if you have not been, a side note, Annie will be the last day of June and the first day of July for the next performances, and I didn't catch the first, but people have raved about it, because that is absolutely fantastic. What they pull off in 2 weeks with our kids is absolutely amazing, so try to put that on your schedule if you don't mind. Boys and Girls Club takes over in the afternoon for us, and there are about 110 students that stay in the afternoon. At TMS, we have a summer enrichment program as well with our 21st Century Grant and Boys and Girls Club. They have 55 kids staying every day, and that's a pretty big deal for the middle school, because those kids are usually old enough to stay home without a parent, and they would rather stay home. So that they want to be at the program, I think is very telling on the job that they do and that Kevin Benson does with them. There are 9 certified teachers and 3 paras working. They do 2 hours of math and language arts and 2 hours of enrichment. They've done things like STEM, PE and Bike Club, Native American Culture, Art and Cooking Club. They go on field trips every Thursday. They have visited the Telco Public Library. They have been fishing at the Methodist Home, and they're going to the Natural Falls State Park for a hot dog cookout and game day at Arrowhead towards the end of this week. The high school, we also have students staying for summer school. We have 117 courses assigned. 49 students are working on that, and they've got 13 completions early, and so they've got a long ways to go, but we know that they're gonna get there on their summer completions. Bond projects update. I have put some pictures on Facebook if you are on Facebook for that, but the turf field is absolutely gorgeous. I think Matt probably goes out and just looks at it every day.
Every morning.
It's like where he has his coffee, I'm sure, and he just checks it out. It is absolutely beautiful, and so we are so super excited and proud of that field. It is near completion. The goalposts still have to be put up, and a final cleanup, sod next week, and complete by the end of the month. So our kids should be practicing on that field in July. Athletic facility, if you've driven by that corner, the red iron is up. A very large building. It looks like the Taj Mahal right on the corner, right there. It's so high, had to build that up, so it's a very tall structure. They will be doing wall and roof panels in this next week. That is still scheduled to be finished sometime end of this year, but on schedule so far. Cherokee Elementary, the building pad will be complete by next week for the new addition that will be on the end of the building. They are doing asbestos abatement that was in the tile in the old cafeteria that had been something else for the last few years. So they're taking care of that for the new media center. Will begin the saw cutting slab very quickly. At Greenwood, the undercut of the parking lot this week and bringing back in aggregate base. That parking lot did not go as planned. I guess sometimes that happens on bond projects, as we can find. But it's going to cost us a little over $200,000 more than it was supposed to, because when they pulled up the old asphalt, there really was no appropriate base underneath that. It's something that no one knew and had no one. So we're going to do it right, so it'll be correct forever from this point on. But it will be, we're gonna have to sleep on it because we're gonna be so excited for this exciting parking lot we're gonna have, but it'll be done appropriately for the future. So they're working on that, getting temporary power up and begin the building pad for the additional classrooms at Greenwood. So lots of good things going on with those projects, and we're super excited and just thankful to our community for allowing us to do this. And that's it, short, sweet.
When does summer school end?
Summer school ends on Friday.
This Friday?
Yes, with the exception of the summer arts camp, and they go next week as well. Questions?
Does anyone know in item K if I am supposed to read all of this? Usually when it's bold, we do. Okay, I'm just gonna do it's a paragraph, but I will move to approve item K, Item K is discussion and vote to approve. I'm going to move to approve the certificate of authority. Superintendent Tina Jones is appointed as a delegate of authority on behalf of Talcott School District I-35 to deal with any state and federal governmental division in regard to spending of state or federal monies and to the compliance of the district with funding requirements, civil rights laws, and special education related statutes. The superintendent shall have authority to complete and submit necessary governmental forms, provide governmental agencies with requested information, make application for governmental funds, and perform all acts needed to comply with state and federal law requirements for the receipt of grant money and for the protection of civil rights of employees and students. Programs include Title I, II, III, IV, and VI formula grants, Title VII Impact Aid and Indian Education, Johnson O'Malley, IDEA programs, all discretionary competitive grants, adult basic education, Title IX official and supervisor of 504 designations. Ian Mashburn or Carl Ridenhour shall be designated as a local contact person and the individual authorized to sign in the absence of the superintendent. Do I have a second?
Well, let me ask a question first, since it's worded or instead of, does that mean we're gonna pick one of those? Is it Deanne Mashburn or Carter shall be designated?
We would begin with the assistant superintendent and then go down to the executive director.
Any other questions, discussion?
I'll second it.
Okay, now any other questions? All right, Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item L, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the designation of purchasing agents and receiving clerks for each of the school sites. Do I have a motion to approve item L 1 through 7?
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Oh, actually, I messed that up. Now, do I have, I skipped the end of the list. Do I have a motion to approve item L? That was purchasing agents, receiving agents, 1 through 5.
Can I just amend my,
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna amend to include L 1 through 7 and L 1 through 5.
Do I have a second? Okay. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item N, discussion and vote to approve or not approve activity account descriptions for the 23-24 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item N, surplus, discussion and vote to approve or not approve in 1 through 4. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item O, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the following bids quotes. Do I have a motion to approve item O1?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. And I am going to make a motion to approve items P1, 2, 3, 4, with a change on 4B, changing the date from 2023 to 2024. Items 5 and 6, with the exclusion of P, 2, L, and M. Do I have a motion? Or, I'm sorry, I made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? I removed L and M to vote on separately as they are, contracts with Cherokee Nation. And then we
Okay.
just corrected a, typo in the agenda, although the paper in our packet is correct, the agenda was wrong on that date on 4B.
Okay.
So, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor? Yeah, it's been too long since I've been up here.
Food messes with us.
Yeah, we don't even get to eat all that sugar, right? It wasn't sugar, it's good, full grain. Ms. Walker? Aye. Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Now, do I have a motion to approve item P, 2, L, and M?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And I abstain from that one. Hard part out of the way, still got a bunch to do. Item Q, board to consider and take action on motion approving the renewal of the sublease agreement dated September 1, 2022 between the district and Tahlequah Educational Facilities Authority for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 as required under the provision of the agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item R, board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of the lease purchase for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 as required under the provisions of the equipment lease purchase agreement dated September 1, 2020 between the district and MRE. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item S, board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of the Qualified Zone Academy bond lease for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024 as required under the provision of the equipment lease purchase agreement dated November 5th, 2015 between the district and Zion's First National Bank. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item T, discussion and vote to approve or not approve Indian Capital Technology Center Muskogee campus instructor Jessica McKinney and Shannon Tucker as adjunct instructors for academic credit in anatomy for the 23-24 school year. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item U, discussion and vote to approve or not approve Indian Capital Technology Center instructors Andrea McElmurray as adjunct instructor for academic credit in anatomy and Amanda Butler and Gil Brown as adjunct instructors for academic credit in advanced math and science courses for the 23-24 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. Item V, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the first read of the following handbooks and manuals for the 23-24 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
This is a first read, these will come back up again. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. Item W, discussion and vote to approve the revision and review of the following policies. This is item W1 through 18. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve. Second.
Ms. Crawford Beach too.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Any discussion? I just wanna say that these are just all cleaning up policies, we've been going through board policies, we work with OSSBA, we've got people that review all of our policies each year. And the cheese sandwich policy that Lacey had mentioned is in this, so that's a big change.
You highlighted all the
Yes.
changes
Right.
marked out, what
Yes, ma'am.
And that's really the only one with major, the rest of them are kind of
Language.
Really just cleaning up the
grammatical
language.
and that type of thing. We do have a motion and a second, Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. I'm gonna make a motion, let me announce it. Item X, discussion of vote to approve or not approve, scheduled encumbrances. I am going to make a motion with a change on X1. It should be 1570 through 1609. It says 1608 in the agenda. And I make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. I will make a motion to approve item Y 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the following: Amanda Barnes, Heritage Teacher; Cicely Hicks, Heritage School Nurse LPN; Salyn Edson, Heritage Teacher pending certification; Amy Holmes, Heritage Teacher; Jensen Grammer, TMS Teacher pending certification; Lincoln Keener, THS Teacher pending certification; Timothy Pace, THS JROTC Paraprofessional. Do I have a second?
second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker? Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford? And aye. And we do have new business today. We have one item. I will make a motion to approve the agreement with Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission to provide TPS with one Redbird J Velocity Flight Simulator with rubber pedals to use with the AOPA curriculum. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion?
Staying with the last second because someone won something that we had to accept, it was a great prize for the new aeronautic program.
Who won that?
Mr. Lambert, Brian Lambert, he's a Chillicothe City airport manager and he's gonna be our teacher and he went to the training and won a flight simulator.
Fantastic.
So when they said, will you add that to new business, we said, yes, we will.
The, getting into these different aeronautics programs, I have a grandson who's been checking it out. It's not easy, they are full at OU and Southeastern and OSU, and it's really pretty amazing. And the bonuses that airlines are offering now for new pilots, and they're really looking for girls, for females. And United has offered me like over $1 million sign-on bonus applied for new pilots. So.
Well, that would pay for their student loans, cause it's about $6,000.
49.
So I just think it's interesting and very important that we're getting into this and introducing kids to this possibility.
Natalie and Deanne have been doing a lot of work with the area airport and the different grants and things like that with this. So we're excited to see where this takes us in the next couple of years. Just getting our feet on the ground, but I think it's gonna be really good.
Let us know when we've got the flight simulator all set up and.
We should have two because I wrote a grant for another one. That way we'll have two and maybe we're thinking one in the library, one in our new classroom, and then we can kind of entice more kids to be interested in.
You know, a couple of the programs, they're looking primarily for kids right out of high school. And it's, the requirement on the ACT is something like a 29. Gotta have a lot of math skills. And if you have flight training already and are licensed and so on, then that's taken into consideration. So anyway, I think it's really exciting to think about. And it's nice for kids to make a connection between why they're learning math and how that relates to careers. And that how the value of the knowledge. Yeah. So anyway, that's exciting.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Dr. Eversole?
Aye.
Ms. Crawford?
Aye.
And aye. And with that, we are adjourned. Yeah,